Hello, and welcome to another scene in the living legend of the Five Rings. Tonight, this scene finds Daidoji Makoto going to visit one of her few clanmates within the walls of Kyuden the courtier known as Kakita Mizuri. Having witnessed him duel Bayushi Seimei or get grievously ill before facing Bayushi Seimei and having to resign from the competition, very unfortunately. Makoto has decided that it's high time that she see how he's doing and follow up on that whole sordid little affair. And so Makoto finds herself in what could very tentatively be described as the nicer part of Kyuden in the residential area where the samurai have their small houses. The Great Clan Samurai have the best furnishing, the best abodes rather, and one might even, in a very brief passing moment, wonder if all of the Crow Samurai were forced to move to less interesting or beautiful dwellings in the area. But anyway, Makoto finds herself met at the shoji screen door by a servant who, very prim and proper, this person clearly does not come from Crowlands. This is a crane-trained servant, likely one that Missouri brought with him, and he bows and welcomes her inside and informs her that she will inform his master. He will inform his master that you have arrived, and disappears to sort of leave you standing in the foyer. And it's pretty obvious pretty fast that this place is has been furnished very elaborately and expensively.
I'm going to assume that it's kind of, set up to be looked at, so Makoto will appreciatively go and have a look at the areas that look like they're obviously arranged for guests. She doesn't stray too far, but she tries to get a sense for what his tastes are.
Immediately, she sort of notices that unlike most doji trained courtiers who have a very fleeting, sort of airy way of arranging their decor, very, very rigid. Everything has its place, but still very very ethereal, if that makes sense. It's just everything is sort of wispy. That is normally what you would expect from a doji trained courtier. However, Missouri's place seems to, while everything is still tidy and very artistically arranged for one's viewing pleasure, it does strike you as a bit more erratic, and the overall theme seems much more difficult to pin down, even for somebody versed in crane decor.
Interesting. Okay.
There's definitely a manic bent towards the way everything is arranged. Very subtle, but very obvious.
Sure. Once you know what you're looking for. Okay.
A Scorpion might not know what to make of all this.
If there's anything particularly fine, she'll go and inspect it more closely while she waits, but she's keeping an ear out for sounds of movement in the house.
Yeah, the shuffling of socks against wood catches your attention, and the servant makes his way back in, bows deeply, and says, "He will see you now," and leads you into a sort of a centrally placed room, the back of the dwelling. And this place is pretty large. There is some sort of windiness to it, but he slides the door open. Well, he kneels first and then slides the door open. And you see this fine gentleman sitting at a small table in sort of a less formal, I should say, a less formal kimono. It's still obviously exquisite, but definitely not something that he would be seen out and about in.
Okay.
And he smiles and says, Makoto-san, come, enter.
She smiles and offers, a polite bow. She doesn't get extravagant about it, but something polite, and then steps in and joins him, looking around the room. She is noting exits and entrances as well as taking in the place.
So as you step in, this room sort of opens out into the garden.
Mm-hmm.
The screen walls have been slid back, so the entirety of the room is open out onto the garden, which is placed against the actual, an actual wall, a privacy wall, separating it from anybody being able to see into the garden. And it's a typical, I would say a typically designed grain garden, except for that small hint of
mania,
eccentricity.
Okay.
That you saw in the rest of the place.
Presumably, it wasn't a crane garden before. How much time has he probably had to make it his own?
He's been here as long as you have, for sure. Maybe a little longer, but it hasn't been more than a couple of months.
Okay.
So everything, there are some you can actually make me a perception artisan bonsai. Or actually gardening, not bonsai, gardening.
Okay. I don't think I have that. So
you don't have it. Can't roll it.
Okay.
Never mind. Would you like to spend a void point?
No.
Turns out you're not that interested in gardening.
Not that interested, no. I know someone who is, but he's not here.
Arranging and gardening are not the same. Point of fact, neither is bonsai. Anyway, the finer details you're not really sure. It definitely looks like there is some new, a great many new features that have been planted in it. But as far as what he's actually done, it's hard to say. And he might have a gardener rather than he do it himself.
Sure. Okay. Have I heard any rumors about his health, or can I roll to see how he looks health-wise?
Yeah, you can roll perception medicine.
Okay.
10.
Are we in a dice roller?
I don't have Discord up. I'm bad at this.
The name of the previous scene as well has the button. 23.
He looks hale and healthy.
Excellent. Okay. And she'll say so. Azuri-san, you look much better than the last time I saw you. It is a pleasure to see your smiling face.
He grins all the wider. I do apologize that you had to witness that. Most unbecoming.
My heart was a little broken. I was very much looking forward to the duel.
And it looks like that Scorpion might run away with the whole thing. Such a shame.
It is indeed. Of course you cannot be faulted, but, as I've said, a little heartbreak. I hope you'll forgive me.
I might find it in myself.
But what ailed you? Is he sitting down?
He is.
Should I assume that she can join him, or?
Yeah, she can sit across. There's a small table in the middle of the room.
If he doesn't indicate for her to do otherwise,
he
she'll
does.
join
He
him.
does.
Okay.
He sort of gestured whenever he said, "Come in." He just sort of like swept his hand towards the other side of the table.
Yeah, she settles herself down.
I do apologize, Makoto-san, but first, do you require refreshment?
I would be honored by some tea.
Very
But
well.
I do not require it.
Well, it is here, and it is within my power.
She just smiles. It's nice to visit a grain.
He makes a gesture, and the shoji closes, and the servant goes away and presumably goes to fetch some tea. So, to what do I owe the visit?
I've been waiting for an appropriate time to call. I hope to introduce myself a little less formally to a clanmate. There are not many of them here. And to see that you had fully recovered.
Well, fortunately for me, I have recovered. Unfortunately for us, you're correct. There are not many.
So far, I find myself enchanted by those that are here, though. At least in that fortune smiles upon me.
Fortune favors all of us from time to time. Which one, though? Many at once? None at all?
She gives him kind of a long look.
Which do you favor? Which fortune, I mean?
Are there different fortunes?
Oh, there's a bunch. It's a religious thing.
Should I know them?
I mean, you probably know a couple.
She will name one. A nice one.
Hang on.
I'm looking them up.
There is a list of them. I know, like, Ben 10 is the fortune of love.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Neat. Okay, here we go. Okay, so she's just going to say Ben 10.
Ooh. Careful who you tell that to.
I hope you'll keep it to yourself.
I shall try, but gossip is, well, you know.
When he says that, her face just kind of closes.
He smirks. I'm just joking.
I am well aware of the temptations of gossip. I do not find it a particularly becoming sport, but
Many in the Daidoji do not.
she smiles and kind of glances away. I'm afraid so.
It's all right. The Asahina don't have a penchant for it either.
And were I feeling ungenerous, I would point out that few people are keen on sports at which they do not excel. I must admit, gossip is not a sport at which I excel.
And clearly neither is dueling. So I ask you, Daidoji-san, what is a sport at which you excel?
She sits back just a little and says, so far the protection of others, which is part of why I've come. To make sure that you are well.
I'm perfectly all right. Thank you for your concern. Ah, here we are. And the shoji opens, and the servant brings and sets out some teacups on the finest of finery, and begins pouring. It's not a tea ceremony, so there's not too much pomp and circumstance to it. But immediately the tea does smell like it had a hefty price tag indeed.
She leans forward again just a little bit to savor it. Your illness seemed awfully convenient. Obviously not for you. It worried me. I've come to assuage my worries.
He smiles and is sort of in the process of sort of doing the same thing, savoring the fragrance of the tea as the shoji closes again and the shuffling recedes away. He lets the pause end and says, "Again, that's very kind of you, but you needn't worry. What is it you think happened?"
You do not worry that someone favored your opponent, perhaps, enough to worry your stomach.
How do you mean?
I mean that there were interested parties.
Such
You ate
as?
nothing strange that day?
Oh, Makoto-san, I am very interested to know who these parties might be.
The scorpion themselves. I did not think your opponent had anything to do with your illness.
How do you figure that?
I've spoken to him a little. He has no knowledge of poisons.
Scorpion are very adept in the ways of deceit.
Yes. I am told so. He seems cut from a different cloth.
Well, that would be very convenient for him then.
Indeed.
Are there others?
Have you not seen a samurai with a red mask in town?
I have.
A very fearsome aspect. Do you know this notable?
I do believe that is Yogo Atsuri.
Is that a name she should recognize?
She hasn't met him, so probably not.
Okay. Will you spell that for me?
Yogo is the last name. Atsuri, Atsuri.
Thank you. He too seemed interested in the duel. But not particularly friendly sort.
By interested, you mean?
Came to watch, as I did.
And so, to you, an outside observer, it would appear that my very inconvenient illness might not be all that it seems, then?
I'll be frank with you, a clanmate. That was my concern. Yes.
And do you
That
think
someone
that
might have wished you ill health.
do you think that maybe one of these scorpion might have done this?
Or been involved. I cannot see who else it would benefit.
His expression just sort of brightens for a moment, and he just says, "Excellent. It's exactly what I wanted to see and to hear. That is the response I wished to gain."
She stares at him, kind of blankly.
He smiles.
Missouri-san, it sounds as though you are playing an intricate game.
How familiar are you with Kyudenkoro and its surroundings?
Not very. I've been here a little while.
Then I would assume that you're not overly acquainted with the local flora.
No, I cannot say that I am.
There is a plant called whiskerweed. It has a very unusual property that, well, it makes one violently but safely sick to their stomach. Very reliably.
Perhaps you'll describe it for me. I'm not usually in the habit of foraging, but...
Perhaps I'll show you. I have some pressings of it. But anyway, between you and me, I feigned my illness that day. Just to see what might happen in the face of our opponents in the Scorpion clan.
She nods, but she looks a little scandalized.
That is a stormy look.
I think I am pleased to know that you are not ill-treated. Except by yourself. I'm still disappointed that I did not have the opportunity to watch the duel.
I do apologize if I caused you undue concern. That was not the goal.
I accept your apology, of course. And I shall not hold it against you. I am glad to know what game is afoot. I would not like to disturb the pieces unknowing.
Unfortunately, that is not a game that we have the luxury of playing.
How do you mean?
I mean that given everything that is happening, the Empire at large, and the unfortunate circumstances our clan finds itself in, especially given the weakened position we have at court, is it not our duty to find any means that we can to undermine the Scorpion?
Our duty to the clan. Tell me, what are your duties here? In Kyuden Kuro.
I represent the interests of the Doji.
And officially? Does everyone serve under one of the three kind of realms of...
No.
Okay.
He this individual is probably just a body for the court.
Okay. Cancel that question then. She nods. Then I'm glad you're here. If I can be of assistance, I hope you'll let me know.
It is certainly difficult to be the right hand of the Emperor when the hand is so occupied.
Just so I know, aren't the crane the left hand?
Sure. That's what I meant.
Okay. Sorry, just making sure he's not saying something that I'm not understanding. And when he says when the hand is so occupied, we don't know about the Emperor stepping down yet, right?
No.
Okay. She nods. But if there's one thing that which I think our clan may be said to excel at, it is making beauty out of difficulty.
I do appreciate the sentiment.
Do you?
I do. But occasionally, every so often, one must get a taste of the filth that your enemies revel in order to better understand them and defeat them.
I'm surprised to hear Kakita say so. And yet, it is a sentiment I can understand.
You've been in contact with the Bayushi.
I have.
You seem to think very highly of him.
I do. It has not been a great deal of contact, but...
What can you tell me about him? In case I run up against him.
I find him keen and inquisitive. His questions are nearly shocking, and occasionally shocking. He's less concerned with propriety than he should be.
He and I may get along. What a terrifying prospect.
It is indeed. I hope you can guide him in ways that will be beneficial to both of us.
I believe the unicorn have a saying about leading horses to water.
Do they?
Once
And she
there,
said,
you can't force them to drink.
are you in this instance the horse?
No,
Or the leader?
no, I'm the rider.
Then I wish you both fortune and skill in convincing a scorpion to drink.
I do believe the point is simply that the effort may not be worth the trouble.
I see. I have so far found him loath to drink. You might have better luck with a different metaphor.
Possibly so. He takes a sip of his tea. I heard of your recent actions in the nearby village.
She glances up to try and figure out how nearby the village that he's talking about is, whether he's talking about the Crow Village or the slums where she was recently rolling about in the mud.
The incident with the Ronin? Question mark.
Is that what he says?
Yes.
Darn. Oh no, that's good, that's good. Ronan, not the assholes. Excellent. She, in that case, she nods and picks up her tea and sips at it.
Fascinating. Perhaps you could tell me a story.
A tale of Ronan in a small village?
No, your deeds, your exploits. I must be able to represent our clan in court. Tell the glorious things that we've done.
She nods, kind of slowly, and steals some time to collect her thoughts with the sipping of tea. We were led by the late Akoto Rio.
I heard he gave his life.
He did. He was a man dedicated to honor. To his honor.
As all lion are.
She nods.
Perhaps if he was born a crane, he may have succeeded where a lion could only fail.
I do not like to speculate. And I hope that his karma will reward him for the services that he rendered, as he deserves. We were attacked as we approached by archers, and I did not see him fall as I went to remove the obstacle. The Ronin had employed some of the peasants as cheap Ashigaru.
How dastardly.
She just kind of shrugs. She doesn't really know what to say to that. It seems kind of... It made sense to her. And there's kind of a grimness to her expression. So I dealt with them. And returned to see what else remained to be done There were two more Ronin waiting. They had approached the Phoenix. The Phoenix? No, the dragon. But he had other matters to attend to, and so I dealt with them as well. Truly, I think the hinge of the story is the ghost.
As I sort of widen at that.
Have you not heard? The
Should I
samurai
have?
who was... Oh, I hope so. It is a good tale, and very interesting. A samurai who was overseeing the village was slain in doing her duty by the Ronin when they took the village. And her ghost stayed to see that her honor was fulfilled. She aided us and asked that we see that her children were returned to their father.
I see.
It was a sight I've not seen before. Ghosts.
Harrowing indeed.
She nods.
But here you are.
But here I am. Which is where I intend to be if there is danger. And it turns out that there is not here. She kind of lifts her tea in a moment's toast. As in, like, good job, Whiskerweed. Way to not be poisoned.
Perhaps you can tell me more of the business that happened in the slums. Very curious.
It was messy. I'm afraid there is not much to tell. We were ordered to find the leader of the mess that has been made of... Oh, what are they called? What do you call the Untouchables?
Etta?
The Etta, by the opium.
And did you?
Not yet. We arrested two people who will hopefully help us find him or her.
I see. And who's overseeing all of this?
What's the name of the law lady?
Utaku. Utaku Ji-yoon.
Utaku Ji-yoon has asked that the opium ringleader be brought to her. I believe Bayushi Seimei has been keeping an eye on the investigation.
Does that not trouble you?
Should it trouble me?
Well, if it's not your business, I suppose not.
Does it trouble you?
Yes?
Will you tell me why?
He smiles. Leaving such sensitive things to the Scorpion can be troublesome.
Mm. Are the scorpion not known for their sensitivity?
Scorpion are known for their subtlety. It's not the same thing.
It's difficult to have a light hand unless it is also sensitive. Myself, I am not known for my sensitivity or my light hand.
Well, I suppose that we should have to hope that someone who does will be able to keep an eye on things, just in case.
Are you, Missouri-san, known for a light hand?
I'm known for a deft hand.
She nods. It seems to me there is much of air in your house.
He smiles pretty wide at that. You noticed?
I appreciated it. It's a pleasure to look upon.
Excellent. That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Then I am pleased to have pleased you.
It might be that you can do more to please me if you wish.
Please tell me how.
I would appreciate it if you could keep me informed of your dealings with Same-san. Nothing intrusive, of course, but anything that you might find interesting. I'm certain that our clan can make great use of it.
Of course. I'll keep you apprised of anything interesting.
Thank you so
Perhaps
much,
if
Mr.
you find yourself embroiled with Yogo Atsuri, you will likewise share what interests you of him or her.
Yes, of course.
She nods.
He sips upon his tea.
She follows suit.
And if there's nothing else,
No, it's
they
good.
finish their tea and say their goodbyes pleasantly, and all's well that ends well.